I got this MMD V-Series spoiler from American Muscle, and I like this spoiler a lot better than the factory spoiler. Now, when I got this spoiler, I was looking for a spoiler that would use the factory holes that were used with the factory spoiler, because I didn't want to have to drill holes. So if you don't have a spoiler on your Mustang already, you will have to use the templates that come in the kit and drill holes in your trunk. And if you're not comfortable in doing that, then you're going to have it professionally done. But if you have the factory a factory spoiler already on your Mustang, you're going to be able to use those factory holes. So it didn't go completely smoothly, so I'm going to kind of talk about that, and throughout this video I'm going to be showing clips of the actual installation. So anyway, to start with, the factory spoiler, to get it off, you have to pop the trunk, and the first thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to take this plastic cover off of the latch. Now, I watched a video on YouTube of a guy do this on a 2015, and he just squeezed this and pulled it off. Well, that didn't work out for me, and I couldn't figure out for the life of me what was holding it on there. So I just started kind of prying on it and stuff, and it finally gave loose, and it ended up breaking a little plastic tab that's up underneath here, and I ended up having to drill a hole in the plastic and put a little screw in there to hold this plastic latch cover on after I did that. So don't make that mistake like I did, because there has to be a little plastic tab right up underneath here that you're going to probably have to pry out with a screwdriver to get this plastic cover to come off that latch. So don't make that mistake like I did. I mean, you can't even see the little screw that I had to put in there, but still, that was a mistake. And then you have to, if you already have the factory holes, I didn't have to take this liner, this trunk liner, completely out. All I had to do is take this pop rivet out here, and this pop rivet over here, and then these two rubber stops right here, you just twist them out. So after you get those get that down, then you're able to take and move this trunk liner down to where you can get a socket wrench. And then over on this side, these plugs are just plugs, so you just pull these plugs out, and then you're able to access the bolts that are under here that's holding the factory spoiler on here and here. And then you have another one that's another two bolts that are under this area and this area here. So anyway, after you get that, after you get those bolts undone, then you can go ahead and close your trunk. And that factory spoiler that's on your Mustang, if you have a factory spoiler on there, is not real easy to get off. So what I ended up having to do is heat it with a heat gun to loosen up the adhesive, or to soften up the adhesive that's holding this spoiler down, and using a trim tool, a wide thin trim tool, and work my way all the way across here, driving that trim tool through here between the plastic and the spoiler, or the trunk and the spoiler, and just slowly start lifting it up. And I had to heat it up several times to get that adhesive loosened up. And so you don't want to get it so hot that you burn the paint, but just work back and forth and heat it up, and then take a trim tool and start prying that thing up slowly. Just be patient, take your time, because you don't want to damage the paint on your trunk. So anyway, after you do that, just keep working your way across here with your trim tool, just kind of slowly pulling up and prying up on it. and you'll eventually be able to get that spoiler and the adhesive soft enough and hot enough to where it's loose, and you can start pulling that thing up. On your factory spoiler, you'll have a couple tabs on each end that are clipped in, so you will hear a pop on both sides as it comes up. Once you get that factory spoiler removed, you're going to have a bunch of adhesive all across here. I mean, they glue that thing down good. So what I ended up having to do is had to use this eraser tool that body shops use, and you put it in a drill bit, and you put it in a drill, and I had to use that to get this adhesive off of this trunk. And you don't want to put, if you get one of these eraser tools that body shops use, you don't want to put too much pressure and get the adhesive all hot to where it all gets all gummy. So you just want to put light pressure on it and just work yourself back and forth until you get all that adhesive off. And then after I got most of it off, it'll kind of ball up and chunk up, and you'll just keep wiping it off. And then after most of the adhesive was off, then I used this Goo Gone, this stuff called Goo Gone, and then I put that Goo Gone on a rag, and it just took the rest of the adhesive off. So anyway, that's how I got the adhesive off. And then you're going to have some holes, because your old factory spoiler is going to have some pins on it that go in these different holes through on each side. And I took some 3M tape, and the holes that weren't going to be used to bolt down the new spoiler, or this new spoiler, I put some pretty wide 3M squares of tape on those holes, just to kind of have some extra protection against moisture getting down in there. So anyway, after I got that and the 3M tape down there, the bottom of this spoiler, this new spoiler, is painted, so I couldn't see that it had 3M tape, so I didn't think it had 3M tape, and I thought I was going to have to put my own 3M tape, double-sided tape, on the bottom of the spoiler. But because it was painted, it was hidden to me, and then I discovered that it does indeed have 3M tape that they have all the way around on the bottom part of this spoiler. So you're going to have to peel that back and have the end sticking out of that 3M backing, tape backing, sticking out, so that you put this spoiler on, and then you'll be able to get that backing and pull it out the rest of the way, so that you can stick this down, and then you can tighten it up. Now I want to talk about the issues I have with that. I wish that they would have had, for me anyway, if you don't already have a factory spoiler, then you're going to have to drill holes. So I kind of understand why they didn't have bolt studs coming out of the spoiler, because you'll have to use the templates if you don't have the factory spoiler, and lay this down on your trunk with those templates, and then those templates stick here on your trunk, and then you can remove the new spoiler and then drill your holes and mark those holes where the templates are, and then drill your holes in your trunk. So I understand why they didn't do that, but for me it would have been easier if they had like bolt studs already in the spoiler, and then that way it would have been easy to just stick those bolt studs in the holes and then just put a nut on them and tighten them up, and it would have been just a lot easier for me personally, because they include these screws, and they're a Phillips head, and they're easy to strip out if you don't have just the right perfect fit on your Phillips screwdriver. So anyway, just a heads up on that. So it just made it more difficult, because of course I do most everything by myself. It just made it more difficult because I had to have the trunk open like this, and then put the spoiler on there, and then try to get those screws started underneath here. And at one point I lost my grip on the spoiler, and it just slipped down and went up against my louver, Didn't scratch anything up or cause any damage, but it still was kind of a pain in the neck to hold this in place. Try to get it lined up, especially because you have some of that you got some of that 3M tape on there that's already trying to stick. So trying to get those holes lined up was kind of a pain. So but once I did, I had to reach underneath here with those screws and get those screws started. And these two here in this area were really difficult to get to with the screwdriver. I used a little stubby Phillips to get on those screws because the regular screwdriver was just too long. So, but besides that, we're gonna take a look at this thing. I think it looks a lot better than the factory. So, and made a big improvement on the rear end of this Mustang. So. You might consider this MMD V Series. It comes pre-painted. I got this one pre-painted, American Muscle. You just match it to whatever color your Mustang is, and they have pre-painted MMD V Series spoilers, or you can get unpainted and then have somebody paint it for you. And I decided to just get it pre-painted the same color as the Mustang, and the color match is, I think, excellent. There is some things after the installation that I noticed that I did not like. So I'm going to take the video camera off the tripod so you can get a closer look at what I'm talking about. Maybe you can see it. But there's a line right here that runs all the way across the trunk. And you can barely see it, but I can see it. And it's from the old adhesive that was on the original factory spoiler. So I don't know if you can see that or not, but I sure can. But anyway, just trust me. If you can't see it, there is a line that's in the paint all the way across here. Now, I really haven't tried to buff it out. I have thrown some wax on it and kind of rubbed on it, and it just really didn't take it completely out. But like I say, it does not it's not that noticeable to where it's going to bother me, to where I'm going to have to take it to a body shop and have the trunk repainted or something like that. But just a heads up on that, there is an issue there. This spoiler, I guess, isn't as wide. I don't know if I could have backed it up a little further this way, but I had the holes completely perfectly lined up underneath there, so I don't think I could have moved it forward to cover this line right here. But that's, it's a good half inch right there. So the other factory spoiler must have been just a little bit wider or something. But anyway, just a heads up on that. As far as the overall look of the spoiler, I think it looks awesome. I'm really glad that I did the mod. And so anyway, I hope that that if you decide to do a spoiler like this, that this video will help you. Anyway, guys, I hope that that this video helped you to make a decision whether or not you want to do a mod like this. This is the MMD V Series spoiler that you can get on American Muscle, pre-painted or non-painted or unpainted. And so anyway, if this video helped you as far as making a decision whether or not you want to do a mod like this or with the installation, please give it a thumbs up. And please subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video.